Greetings and salutations, YouTube land. People back at it with another unboxing video. Today I have a prize that isn't my prize. From Highspots.com. So you guys all know Highspots. They're the best place to get wrestling merchandise out there. They do shows on Whatnot, on Facebook. They even sometimes sell things on their website too. I don't know why anyone would order from that, but hey. And on one of their shows, Turbo Tuesday, they do a wheel spin game. It's $50, whatever it lands on you get. For the month of September, they're doing a special where if it lands on the grand prize, they spin again, you get that prize. If it lands on the grand prize again, you get everything on the wheel. I, of course, went for it because I'm a high roller. What can I say? We do that sort of thing. You should see the comps I get in Vegas. Just kidding. I can't afford Vegas. I can't afford a lottery ticket. I spend all my money on Highspots. Anyway, I took the chance, and when you know it, it landed on 2 Shamburgers. Say it with me, you guys all know, I don't like Shamburgers. However, this time, they offered a deal. You could swap in your Shamburgers for other prizes. I don't remember what they were. I think it was like 50 unsigned promos, which I have no use for whatsoever. I don't even remember. Something else. And the one I went for, which is 50 DVDs. Gonna be honest, I seriously considered not filming this video because I don't know how interested you guys will be, but won't know unless you try, right? Now, I do have to say, the post office, which you guys all know how much I love and support my local post office, left this out in the pouring rain with no bag, and they didn't even put it on my porch. They literally chucked it in the middle of my yard. Thanks, guys. Yeah. They're still mad at me. So this box is absolutely drenched and about to collapse. So, let's find out what's in here. Let's get ready for the unboxing. You are slacking, Sir Chump. I think to make this easier, I'm going to open it up and put the box down here so that I can reach into it easier. While I'm getting into this baby, make sure you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed. Have notification bells on. Tell me what your favorite wrestling DVD is. Tough call for me. Though I have a rather weird story about a recent acquisition of mine, which is the entire WrestleMania Anthology DVD. Let me know if you guys want to hear that sometime. It's a bit weird. Ugh. So, they actually said they're running out of DVDs. So this is probably going to be mostly Ring of Honor, maybe some PWG. I would love to get some of those RF Video ECW DVDs in here. I honestly was going to message them and say, hey, I'll take less DVDs if they're like the ECW ones. But I didn't want to be too difficult. Let's see, I think this is just... this is packing material. From the farmer's dog. I know it's not intentional, but it's really bad timing on that because my parents' dog just died earlier this week, who was the brother of my dog who died last year, so not something I really want to be looking at. But, yeah, not their fault. Alright. Rest in peace, Merlin. I missed you, buddy. Tells all I said hi. So, yep, first we have Pro Wrestling Guerrilla 13. Brian Cage versus Adam Cole. Roderick Strong versus Timothy Thatcher, Jeff Cobb versus Trevor Lee, and more. Smokey and the Bandito. Great name. Darby Allin versus Trevor Lee. Brody King versus Timothy Thatcher. Walter versus Jeff Cobb. Whatever happened to Walter? He seemed like he had so much potential. Well, yeah, ring general, if you know what I mean. Next we have 16. Brody King versus David Starr. Joey Janela versus Jungle Boy. I'm not necessarily doing the main events. I'm just kind of picking whatever seems cool. We have Pushing Forward Back. Sami Callihan versus Dave Christ versus Jake Christ versus Desmond Xavier. Simi Guevara versus Ray Honus. Prince. Dalton Castle versus Adam Cole. Jeff Cobb versus Chris Hero. That should be good. Sami Callihan versus Roderick Strong. Only kings understand each other. Sounds like something you'd hear in a speech. Ray Phoenix versus Trent. Ricochet versus Leo Rush. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Chuck Taylor. That sounds good. Mystery Vortex. I think that's a 4. I can't see because that dude's head's in the way. Candice LeRae versus Trent. Pete Dunne versus Matt Sydal. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Marty Scurll. Mystery Vortex 3. Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. Never seen that match before. Chris Hero versus Zack Sabre Jr. Mystery Vortex. Tell me there's a 2 in here. That's going to drive me nuts if not. Eddie Edwards and Roderick Strong versus the Young Bucks. El Generico versus Rich Swann. Bask in His Glory. Tyler Bateman versus Andy Brown. Walter versus Sami Guevara. Jeez. I cannot pronounce his name today, folks. I am sorry. Oh, this is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla as well. This is a really early one, I'm guessing. El Generico and Quicksilver versus Davey Richards and Roderick Strong. Carl Anderson versus Disco Machine. Frankie Kazarian versus Joey Ryan. Shimmer 80, which is apparently a tournament. Jessica Havoc, Kimberly, Cheerleader Melissa, who I really like. I'm sure there's some people on here I know, but, don't know off the top of my head. And the cool thing is, I don't think I have most of these yet. As I say that, I hit one I'm almost positive I have. Survival of the Fittest 2014. I believe this is Night 2. Jay Lethal versus Cedric Alexander. Night 1. Roderick Strong versus Tadarius Thomas. Adam Page versus Cedric Alexander. The Summer Heat Tour. Michael Elgin versus Roderick Strong. The Road to Greatness Night 1. I know I have several of these already. Kevin Steen and Michael Elgin versus Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa. Back to some Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Mystery Vortex 2, if you would. This is... I can't even read that. Oh, All-Star Weekend 13. Night 1. Oh, I'm wondering if you, like, line them up if they spell it out. Ricochet versus Walter. That should actually be a real good match. The Lucha Brothers versus The Chosen, Jeff Cobb and Matt Riddle. This is All-Star Weekend 11, Night 2. Goodness, I can't even read this. Brian Cage and Michael Elgin versus Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Black Coal Sun. I know I have this one, because that song gets stuck in my head every time I see this bloody DVD. Cedric Alexander versus Adam Cole. Guitar Mageddon. Yeah, I can't even read the font on that. All-Star Weekend 11, Night 1. Is this one of the ones I had earlier? Yes. I have a matching set. Ricochet versus Marty Scurll. Mike Bailey versus Kenny Omega. I don't even think I'm halfway down this box, folks. Shimmer 30. Allison Danger versus Portia Perez. 29. Tanel versus Sarah Del Rey. Ooh, Bola 2018. So this is Night 1. Stage 1. Adam Brooks versus Ray Horace. Bandito versus T-Hawk. Brody King versus PCO. Please tell me the rest of this is in here. 2011 Battle of LA. Oh, this was a one night. Willie Mack versus Chris Hero. Fit Finlay versus Kevin Steen. Claudio Castagnoli versus El Generico. Eddie Edwards versus Roderick Strong. That is a loaded tournament. Man, if you want to see that, how many Stars of the Future did you see? Had like a Cole. I think I have this one too. The Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. Man on the Silver Mountain. I have this one, but man, do I love that song. Sami Callihan versus Matt Sydal. Ooh, NWA. Into the Fire. Nick Aldis versus James Storm. Colt Cabana versus Aaron Stevens versus Ricky Starks. The Rock and Roll Express versus the Wild Cards. Is it legal to have an NWA card and not have the Rock and Roll Express on there? Let's see. This is Hard Times. Looks like it's for the television title. Oh, it's a tournament. Trevor Murdoch versus Question Mark. Matt Cross versus Ricky Starks. Zicky Dice versus Dan Math. Tim Storm versus Ken Anderson. And the Rock and Roll Express are on here. PWG, 200. Jake Atlas versus Jungle Boy versus Trey Miguel. Jeff Cobb versus Bandito. Ooh, a Blu-ray. Must have snuck that in on accident. This one's 3 Mendes 6. I don't know whether to congratulate or slap the person who does their names. Maybe both. Evil Uno versus Tony Dempin. Bandito versus Davey Richards. 3 Mendes 5. Dalton Castle versus David Starr. Penta versus Rayonis. Walter versus Brody King. Shimmer 64. Athena versus Cherry Bomb. Lufisto versus... I can't even read that. They have some weird names in Shimmer. But I think I'm reaching the end of this one, folks. Last pile. Are you still with me? You guys still watching? If so, give me a hell yeah in the comments. Shimmer 44. Madison Eagles versus Cheerleader Melissa. Mickey James All Access. Looks like this is like just a behind the scenes interview. Not a big fan of those, to be honest. Tommy Tiny Lister shoot interview. I will never watch that. Ooh, Heroes of World Class. The Story of the Von Erichs. 2-disc set director's cut. This I will watch. That's a cool hit. Plead the Fifth from Wrestling Revolver. I can't even read these names. Billy Gunn versus Jerry Ryan. Moose versus Keith Lee. The Man Scout Jake Manning versus Sienna. What's this? Mark Hitchcock Memorial Super Show from WrestleCon 2018. Penta versus Joey Janela. Joey Ryan versus Jerry the King Lawler. Dear God. That has to be the horniest match in history. I fear for any woman within the first 7 rows of that thing. Road to Final Battle 2016. Adam Cole versus Silas Young. Kyle O'Reilly versus Donovan Dijak. This one I have. Reclamation Night 2. Matt Taven versus Kevin Steen. Champions versus All-Stars. Pretty sure I have this one. Dijak versus Jay White. Silas Young and Beer City Brawler versus the